Welcome back to another episode of Grizzly True Crime. My name is Gisela K, and today we're going to be looking at page 1 that was shared. We don't know if this is the first page, because apparently there's more pages available in Brian Laundrie's notebook. Stephen Bertolino, the Laundrie attorney, only decided to release these 8 pages, so we actually don't know if they are in chronological order or what else is in there, because it would make more sense to me if there was more to it than going from this first page to then the pages that follow. But I thought, as I asked you guys, if you missed the live stream when it was the 1-year milestone live stream, I asked you guys if you would like me to deep dive and analyze page by page as best as I can. And then, of course, what I'd really like is feedback from you guys on what you think as we look through this. And then maybe we'll do some follow-up analysis, things like that. So if we look at this first page, let's see what we can find. Okay, so let's get started here. I could honestly go over this notebook again and again because it's mind-boggling. Honestly, it makes no sense, some of the things he said. I know that his favorite author was Chuck Palahniuk, and in doing some research, again, on his books and things like that, I couldn't find anything of him talking about meteor showers, especially at the Crystal. In my accent from South Africa, we say geyser. I hear you guys say geyser, so at the Crystal Geyser. I didn't find anything like that, but what I did find interesting is how he described in an interview how he writes his, well, like basically like his style of writing, kind of starting by talking to a character or in like first person to someone, and then later talking like one word in third person in different tenses in a novel format. And that's kind of what this notebook's format is. But of course, there's a lot of speculation surrounding the notebook. Of course, some of us doubt, did he write the whole thing himself? I'm going to assume for the series of these videos that he wrote this so that we can at least focus on that and try to make sense of it. If not, the door is still open. For instance, one very good example is that on the first page, he talks about the vehicle being a van. And on all the other pages, the vehicle is referred to as a car. And he always called it the van. They lived the van life. So that does open up the doors of speculation majorly. And the fact that Roberta Laundrie wrote him a letter that said on the envelope, "burn after reading," and offered to help him with something to do with Gabby Petito, which sounds very sinister indeed. And I have a whole theory about that, oh my word. The point is, if she's capable of that, and whatever it was that she offered, which has not been released yet, we don't know yet what that letter said, well then, how do we know she's not capable of writing the rest of this notebook to make it seem like a more cohesive story, or at least, I don't know, filling in some of the blanks? Not that it did a very good job of that. Okay, before I get into deep diving this, I will give you my very quick theory. What if, when Brian Laundrie went home between the 17th and the 23rd, I've mentioned this before, but it's still in my gut feeling, this is what happened. And this is my opinion, so some people are going to strongly disagree with me. But I think that if he flew home by now, maybe they would have produced some flight tickets. No one's ever brought up flight tickets or anything like that. And I just don't see him being so composed after that Moab incident to really just hop on a plane and go home. But it may be possible that he did. What makes more sense to me, given everything that I've heard and watched, is that he chucked Gabby off at that Fairfield, is it Fairfield, right? In Suites, that hotel. He left her there, and I can just imagine him being like, you just want to work on the website the whole time. So why don't you just stay here, work on the website, and I'll come and get you in a week or whatever it is. Or like, I'll see you whenever. Or maybe they even broke up. I don't know. But it feels, the energy that I feel from it is like a punishing energy, right? To put her there and in quite a state with no resources. Now, the thing is, I know that there was a power outage at this hotel due to a fire that broke out. So that also affects resources like food and things available and how the hotel may have been functioning at the time. But imagine if Brian Laundrie actually got in the van and drove home like a crazy person all the way like he did, from August 28th. But imagine if he left on the 17th. He could have left before. We have no idea. We have no idea what Brian and Gabby did after the body cam footage. From that day until the 21st, where Gabby had a call with her father. We don't know exactly where they were or what happened. So he could have taken the van home already before this date. But even if he left on the 17th, even if he did, he would already be home by the 20th. And he could be home on the 20th and morning maybe of the 21st and then driven back. So he could have been there for a day or two. And even if it was a day, to do something so important with that storage locker, which is still a great mystery, he could have driven the van home, left her without her vehicle, the keys, maybe even not with resources, which is why she would phone her dad to ask him to help her order Uber Eats. Now, I know, again, disclaimer, my opinion only, based on what I think. I'm just sharing it, which is taking some courage, because normally I keep all my little thoughts like this to myself, because it might just sound crazy. But the thing is, Joe Petito said Gabby called him on the 21st and he ordered her Domino's pizza. Remember that? The thing is, he said called, and then later it came out FaceTimed. However, in that Peacock special that I watched, he specifically said he FaceTimed with Gabby on the 24th of August, and then her mom on the 25th of August, which still means there is a chance that that call on the 21st was really just a call from the hotel room. I would speculate that Brian may have taken her phone, her van, and her keys. Really left her stranded, abandoned at that hotel, which the reason my thinking also goes there is because of the notebook, which is not from this page, but when he said she was so thin. She was already a petite lady, but you just don't know if she was even thinner from him abandoning her for a week or more. Could have been, as I say, from the 13th, but let's say from even the 17th to the 23rd, for all that time, for her not eating, for not having resources or anything like that, maybe not even a wallet, maybe not a phone, and then just finally calling her dad midway and saying, can you help me order some Uber Eats and having a pizza, right? Okay, so there's that. Until we have concrete evidence, we don't know, but I'm speculating that could have happened, and the reason I speculate that, and I know I said I'll be fast, and here I go off for waffling away. The reason I say that is because I'm still trying to picture how and why did Roberta Laundrie write a letter that said burn after reading. How did it end up in the van and then later in the home? Because apparently, according to Pat Reilly, the Petito attorney, the letter was originally in the van and then later was found in the Laundrie home by the FBI. Undated letter. If he's driving home on the 28th, okay, why on the 28th of August, 28th or 29th, why and when would Roberta give him this letter? Yes, there's many possibilities. Of course, that means I can talk all day about this, because we can explore the possibility of her leaving the letter somewhere, she can't send it overnight because the letter was undated, so not sending. Leaving the letter somewhere for him, which is weird, or at Fort DeSoto, giving him the letter. But still, how does it end up in the van? And this thing that she offered to help him with, which according to Pat Reilly had something to do with Gabby Petito, that sounds sinister. So it sounds to me like if he went home between the 17th and the 23rd, and let's say if he went in the van, that is how the letter ended up in the van, that she wrote it then already. Okay, do you see what I'm saying? You can fill in the blanks. Let me know if you know what I'm talking about. But I'm like, oh my word. I really strongly think that something was already very, very, very wrong after the Moab body cam footage. Even if Gabby was on FaceTime, showed her beautiful face, you just don't know what Brian was doing to her. He also said her wrists hurt and her feet hurt. He could have even, tied her up or something in that hotel. We don't know. Okay, now let me just move on, because I can honestly sit there with that thought for days. So if you want to see more of that, I'm just giving you a little taste of what I'm thinking. But if you want to see more of that, let me know. But anyway, let's get into the letter. So he writes here, Gabby, comma. So punctuation, as much as he has no respect for boundaries, okay, for the lines on this page, and he's probably writing on his knee, as you guys have said. He's writing with a capital G here. The rest of the notebook is obviously in with a small letter G. Here is Gabby, comma, okay. Punctuation is in place all over the place. Now, what's interesting, he doesn't say Dear Gabby. It's just Gabby, comma. So this first page is addressed to Gabby. But it's as if he's addressing it to Gabby, knowing that there's a huge audience watching. You know what I mean? It doesn't feel like a heartfelt letter to Gabby. Of course not. This doesn't feel heartfelt, right? We can agree on that. Now, in this first page, he says the word I 14 times. And if we combine how many times it says you or your, it's only 5 times. So for a letter to the love of his life, as he says, wow, you sure said I a lot in this letter. Not you are so beautiful, or you, even were if you did use past tense, you were amazing, you were so beautiful, I'm so sorry, you this and this. There's not enough yous going on here. It's all I. 14 to 5. Wow. So he said, I wish I was right. I put the text here so you guys can read here if you can't read it on the notebook. I wish I was right at your side. I wish I could be talking to you right now. Okay, now what would he be talking about if he's with her? Now what's odd is he says, I'd be going through every memory we've made, getting even more excited for the future. My question is, why would you have to, if you had the chance to bring Gabby back to life and you could be sitting there talking to her right now, why is it you talking? Why aren't you letting her talk if you miss her so much? Do you see what I'm saying? I would just stare at you and in awe if he just was the love of his life, and I just want to hear all the things you have to say. If I could just hear your voice one more time. He doesn't say that. In fact, he says, I'd be going through every memory that we've made. So like a checklist. I'm going to go over everything, every memory we've made, getting even more excited for the future. So in his brain, he needs to go over all the past memories in order to be excited for all the future memories, which I don't know. I don't want to say too much. I'm not a mental health professional, but I am very passionate about mental health. And the thing I'm about to say, I know quite a lot about. And so I just feel like that is very much on the spectrum of obsessive compulsive disordered thinking, right? To have to go through everything from the past in order to then be in this moment in the present so that he can then be very excited for things in the future. Okay, and him again, I. Then he says after that sentence, I can't live without you. I feel like the sentence really should read, if he was totally honest with himself, I can't live without abusing you. Because we know there was now a history of DV. I mean, the whole DV situation escalated. Friends came forward to say that he choked on the grass before. I mean, there just are signs that there was a history of DV. And of course, knowing from the Moab body cam footage, and then the whole situation, their relationship escalating in toxicity to the point where he murdered her, and brutally, as they've often said the word brutally, blunt force trauma and strangulation. I can't live without abusing you is what it feels like he should actually be saying. Then again he says I, and this the audacity to say I've lost every day that we could have spent together. He doesn't say we've lost all the days that we could have spent together. No, I have lost every day that we could have spent together. So in his mind, that's where we see the narcissism, right? Gabby is an extension of him. I've lost every day that we could have spent together. You know, all those days that I could have spent abusing you, I've lost that. Damn it. Now I don't have someone by my side. Do you know what I mean? Wow. I've lost every day that we could have spent together. Every holiday. Now, every holiday, it's interesting because that we could have spent together and then say every holiday, because I don't really see holiday photos. And Brian is such a radical purist with these don't give me those plastic water bottles and we don't eat this and we don't do that. He's quite a little dictator. Well, he was quite a little dictator type, right? So to say every holiday, what holiday? Like the dude hardly worked. You were on holiday permanently, bro. So what holiday? What holiday did you celebrate with Gabby that you missed so much? Because I don't see many photos of Christmas, of Thanksgiving, of birthdays, Valentine's Day, anniversary, anything. I don't see you celebrating holidays together in anything that you've shared online, right? So I know it's just online, but still, every holiday, like now what? Is he suddenly some kind of family man? Now he cares about every holiday, every occasion. My guess is, just from my dating life experience, is that a dude like this doesn't give a flying F about holidays In fact, he'll be like, oh, this is just so commercial. We should just like not pay attention to it because it's just so commercial. He's one of those, right? He says, I'll never get to play with unintelligible again. And I can honestly bet that it's Cassie's kids that he's referring to here. I don't know what their names are, but it does look like when he writes, and I zoomed in on it myself, but it kind of looks like Cat and Martin or something like that. So if their names or anything like that, I would assume that's what he means, because his nephews were important to him. Even posted of the nephew, remember, at that swing near to where his remains were in the end, found a picture of himself with his nephew, and he's like, you know, BFF and all this kind of stuff. So yeah, I just find that sentence quite interesting as well, because I'll never get to play with them again. Yeah, okay, so I've lost every day, weekend, every holiday. I'll never get to play with them again. But he doesn't say we'll never, because Gabby loved them too. He also, interestingly, throughout this letter, doesn't ever say how much he'll miss his parents, and doesn't refer at all to his sister, you know, or brother-in-law, mother, father, and like how much he'll miss them or anything like that. It's interesting, right? And then he says, never go hiking with TJ. My question is, if family's watching, I mean, I doubt it, but TJ, did you ever go hiking with Brian Laundrie, right? TJ is Gabby Petito's brother. And so for him to say never go hiking with TJ, I can't see that Brian Laundrie, maybe it happened, but in my mind, just from what we know about him, I think this is him pretending to have like TJ on his side, or TJ as a friend, or like buddy, you know, which I just doubt. I feel like Brian struggled to connect with people, struggled with relationships, struggled with control issues, of course. And to say never go hiking with TJ, I mean, he didn't say never go hiking with you again. He hiked the most with Gabby. They spent the most time in nature. And even for such a nature lover, to refer so little to nature in this entire notebook is very interesting. I mean, there's one line over here which we're going to look at. And then he says, I can't bear to look at our photos, to recall great times, because it is why I cannot go on. So I think there was going to be something else said with after the because, and then he just finished with, it is why I cannot go on. It's like he just pushes that thought away, right? But you say, I can't bear to look at our photos. So instead of saying, I can't bear to think of what I've done, I can't bear to hear your voice in my head but never actually hear your voice again. I can't bear to think that I'll never look into your eyes again. I can't bear to think that I'll never kiss you again. I can't bear to think that we'll never snuggle in a tent under the stars again. No, he says, I can't bear to look at our photos. I can't bear to look at our photos? That's it? That's as shallow as you are? Like, I can't bear to look at our photos. Okay, to recall great times. But you literally just said, if you were with her, all you do is go over your great times. So now you can't bear to look at our photos, to recall great times, because it is why I cannot go on. Okay, so again with the thinking, I can't bear to look at our photos, to recall great times, so from the past, because, and then there's that equal sign which goes with the OCD thinking, cannot go on. So going over, present moment, ooh, there's nothing in the future. Yeah, cannot go on. When I close my eyes, I will think, not of her beautiful face, not of her smile, not of her love, not of anything like that. When I close my eyes, I will think of, and this has got nothing to do with Gabby in this. He's going to think of laying on the roof of the van, falling asleep, probably by himself in this sentence, to the sight of a meteor shower at the Crystal Geyser. It sounds weird for me to say that. We say geyser, but at the Crystal Geyser. And then he says, I will always love you. I will always love you. And at the bottom of the page is you perfectly in the center with a dot. All the writing is like a rainbow style, like all over the place. Again, it could be because he's writing on his knee, as we've speculated before. But very, very odd, right? So, yeah, and we can kind of see through this page to the next page. So I just wonder how many pages there really were that he wrote in this notebook. I know lots of you guys have speculated that this could have been one of those like water resistant or waterproof little flip notebooks, and it could be. It could have been, but I'm not sure. So when I looked at, when I close my eyes, so when he closes his eyes to unalive himself, speculatively, because when I close my eyes, he says, I will. So when I close my eyes, I will think of laying on the roof of the van, falling asleep to the sight of a meteor shower at the Crystal Gazer. I will always love you. Okay, so the thing is, he's gonna, at the moment when he's facing death, he's gonna be thinking of laying on the roof of the van, looking at a meteor shower at the Crystal Gazer. So I had to look, what is the Crystal Gazer? What's the meaning of it? I also looked at what kind of water bottles that they were given there in Moab, because Crystal Gazer is a very popular bottled water brand. And so I was thinking, I wonder if that's got any meaning to it. I don't want to overread things, but no, it doesn't appear to be that brand of water bottle. But yes, believe me, I'm picking apart everything. I can't help it, okay? I'm detail-orientated. Details matter to me, so prepare for details. As you can see, this is already a 22-minute video. Okay, so to say, when I close my eyes, I will think of laying on the roof of the van, falling asleep to the sight of a meteor shower at the Crystal Gazer. To me, it's as if he's thinking there, I will just know that I'm a speck of dust in this giant universe, looking at the meteor shower, just falling asleep, totally at peace, basically no remorse. Not, I'm sorry for what I've done to you or anything. He will be at peace, thinking, oh, well, that was this life, and it's bigger than me. It's like a huge meteor shower. I mean, meteor showers generally would remind one of how big the world, the universe really is, right? The multiverse. It's really one of those moments where you feel tiny as a human if you see something like that, right? So he's falling asleep on the roof of the van. It must be pretty cold on his back, unless he's probably got a blanket on it. Sure. I thought you slept in a hammock though, bro. But okay, falling asleep on the roof of the van, totally at peace, not thinking of Gabby, just at peace with himself in that moment. And then after that says, I will always love you. So I then looked at, well, when did the meteor showers occur? And interestingly enough, as much as I think everything he does is quite premeditated, except possibly, and I don't know, there's a lot to think about, but murdering Gabby was probably more like him, the escalation of DV and escalation of his rage and things like that. It's like possibly not premeditated. However, of course, the Crystal Gazer is along the Green River, and Brian reading all those books and being fascinated with serial killers and stuff. Of course, I thought of the Green River Killer, and I had a look at the maps of where like bodies were found and things like that. That doesn't quite match up, but I was like, okay, Crystal Gazer, what is the point of him saying that? Did they actually fall asleep there? So I looked at, when did meteor showers actually occur there? So this one, and I'm probably going to botch how I say this, but Perseid is one of the types of meteor showers. It's called that, and it happens from July 14th until August 24th, which is interesting. And the peak is, guess when the peak is? August 11th to 13th. Interesting, because on August 12th is when the Moonflower Co-op thing happened, and he would have then checked out on August 13th, and on the morning of August 14th, Kylan and Crystal were murdered. So it's just like the meteor shower, this meteor shower in particular in Utah at the Crystal Gazer was at its peak between August 11th and 13th. I just found it interesting because I do think that Brian likes symbolism. I do think a part of his mind is fantasy, and he thinks he's very, very smart. He might actually be quite smart-ish. I don't want to give him too much credit, but he may have actually been smart-ish, creative, eccentric thinking. So to say this, falling asleep at the side of a meteor shower. Now, I don't know how he's going to fall asleep at the Crystal Gazer, unless it's just bubbling and not actually like doing the blasting thing, because it seems pretty loud and it could give you a fright. So falling asleep peacefully while this thing is blasting off is interesting. There's another type of meteor shower where the peak is on October 20th, and it happens from October 2nd to November 7th. August, September, October. So, of course, they were both no longer on this planet by that time. So that leaves me to the one which peaks August 11th to 13th. And I just found it a little bit interesting. I don't know really what to say about it, but I found his reference and the need to reference that at the end of this letter interesting. Because I speculated already back then that to me the relationship deteriorated so badly that things changed after August 12th. Things changed. And I still wonder, that's why I wonder if that letter, I hope we get to see it, but the letter that Brian Laundrie's mother wrote to him that said burn after reading and helping with something with Gabby, I wonder if it is really sinister, or if she wrote the letter when he went home and then he took it back and maybe it was in the van or whatever, and maybe it was to help get him out of this mess that he would have blamed Gabby for the Moab thing, you see? Very interesting. Also, I wanted to say about the Crystal Gazer. They say Crystal Gazer near Green River, Utah was created in the 1930s when exploratory drilling for oil hit a pocket of soda instead. The carbon dioxide in the soda builds up, and when it erupts, it brings the water and a lot of minerals to the surface. The minerals create bright red and orange formations along the Green River. I guess even mistakes can turn out beautifully sometimes. And this person who wrote it is called Dark Sky Utah on Facebook. It was written, from what I can see, this year. I'll show you in a moment. So let me just take these two images off and then I'll show you. So if we were to look at this right here, you can see a picture of it. I mean, it does look very beautiful. So yeah, from this one, Dark Sky Utah is where I get that. But to me, this sentence right here is kind of, I'm pretty sure that has been written about this Crystal Gazer before. And so Brian is saying, you know, what he said there, it seems to me to be like, oh, well, I guess even mistakes can turn out beautifully sometimes. You know, to me, it feels like that's something that he would be saying. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I also want to show you quickly this one video over here. So if we play it, you'll see it now. Okay, so now you've seen that. So that's the Crystal Gazer. I wonder also, there's so much to consider. I wonder if you're allowed to camp right there. Are you allowed to just park your van and just fall asleep on the roof of your van right there? I'm not so sure, but let me know in the comments. Of course, I was a little time limited now, just to, and look at how long the video is, just to bring you this information, right? So if I just want to show you this right here. This was Gabby Petito's last post, remember? And I'm sorry if it makes anyone really upset to look at it again. I mean, we love Gabby. Whew, it's just terrible what happened to her. And here he wrote, Happy Halloween, right? Remember that? And that was on August 26th, 2021, 2 days before she was brutally murdered. Happy Halloween in August. I mean, to say that, it's just very strange. It's very strange. The next meteor shower would have been between October 2nd and November 7th. And so, yeah, Halloween falls somewhere in between there. So I don't know if that's got any reference to him and the meteor showers. This picture was from Gabby's story 2 weeks before this was posted over here. It's not, of course, location tagged or anything. So we speculated already in the past. If you missed that, go check it out. But that he wrote this. That Brian Laundrie made this post. And that was on August 19th, you see? August 19th, 2021. I honestly feel like he took her phone, her van, her keys, and everything, every resource she had chucked her at the hotel and went home. Or who knows where. Okay, and then remember, we looked at this as well. See, this was on August 12th, right? He posted this on August 12th, which was the body cam footage day. And right before this, I mean, we've already gone through this a lot, so I don't want to go through it all again. The thing I found just interesting one more time was this one, where, because I was looking now, where were they? Were they near this crystal geyser? Were they near it or not? But here he says, on a calm Monday morning, Bizarre Design and I decided to take the highly trafficked hike to the Delicate Arch. Not sure if it's because it was 7 a.m. on a Monday, but there actually were not as many people on the trail as I expected. After waiting on a short line for someone to generously take our photo, Bizarre Design and I made our way to the other side of the arch. See next photo. We also camped for one night in Devil's Garden with the cover of our tent to fall asleep, watching the stars, trying to catch a glimpse of the Perseid meteor shower. Okay, so here on Gabby's post, it says, we also camped for one night in Devil's Garden with the cover of our tent, not on the van, see, to fall asleep watching the stars, trying to catch a glimpse of the Perseid meteor shower. Interesting, is it not? Very interesting. So if we go here and we add, I'm going to show you the maps now. Devil's Garden in Utah let's put it up here. Okay, so Devil's Garden in Utah. Let's just look on the map where exactly that is. I'll make this bigger for you in a moment. All right, so if we look at the map, this was on a calm Monday morning. Remember that, so that August 9th. Yes, and the peak of this meteor shower is 11th to 13th. I mean, it starts in July 14th, so it can. They could have caught a glimpse. They could have tried to catch a glimpse of it here. Devil's Garden. But that is where the memory was made and what was posted on Instagram. Not at the Crystal Geyser. Now, I'm not saying they didn't go there, because they went obviously from this Devil's Garden region. And then they were at this Mesa Arch. So, yeah, that would be the next point. Interesting. So if we were to put Moab first. Yeah, from the Devil's Garden to the Mesa Arch. I just want to see, isn't there an easier way to get there? Nope, there isn't. There's no easier way to get there. So you would have to go from the Devil's Garden. I'm sure you guys, if you live in the area, you'll know if you can get there from Devil's Garden to the Mesa Arch. More easily, because that was posted from there and they were near there, and Brian wanted to go there on August 12th. So even though the pictures, though, he's talking about it being pictures from August 9th. So okay, so August 9th there, so Devil's Garden, which again, I'm gonna have to, sorry now that I'm here, but this was August 12th saying we camped one night in Devil's Garden. So on a calm Monday morning. So which night did you camp there? We camped one night with the cover off our tent to fall asleep watching the stars. Okay. We camped one night here. So it's like as if those pictures on a calm Monday morning were at Mesa Arch, August 9th. And then going to Devil's Garden to camp there for one night. And then you're coming back and passing through Moab, because you had the Moonflower Co-op on August 12th, and then it's the body cam footage and all that. And if we then look at this crystal geyser, Devil's Garden, Crystal Geyser, you have to go past there then to go to Moab and the Mesa Arch, which then makes sense. Maybe they did camp one night at this Crystal Geyser. Maybe. You know, I'm not saying they didn't. It's just, it's an interesting reference nonetheless. You know, and Gabby saying, they camped with the roof off their tent. What did she say? She said, we also camped for one night in Devil's Garden with the cover off our tent to fall asleep watching the stars. With the cover off our tent, not on the roof of the van. So I'm not saying it's not possible that they did that at Devil's Garden, right? Devil's Garden, and then afterwards went to Crystal Geyser, and then was falling asleep on the roof of the van, which doesn't sound very comfortable at all, but okay, you just never know. Could have. And then, yeah, if we go up, that's Spread Creek, where Brian murdered Gabby. But yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts for now. I hope you enjoyed this episode. There's much more to come. That's why you can see I'm going page by page, because there is so much to discuss. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for being here. If you did, please remember to give this video a thumbs up. I'm really looking forward to read your comments below. Subscribe if you haven't yet, and of course hit the bell so that you know when I'm next going live or when I'm uploading videos. You don't want to miss out on, of course, the other pages that I'm going to be analyzing, and I will see you in the next one. Alrighty, stay safe, stay snarky, and keep it grizzly as always. Bye.